Hey, my elevators. This is Elle Beecham, owner, creator, and founder of the Elevate Movement, which is a naturopathic approach to healing and mental health. Y'all, my skin is really skinning. Like, I have been doing some extensive work on my skin, and I was using like some black soap. I also had some charcoal soap. So I had, a few outbreaks, to come. This little spot right here is lightening up. I had some blemishes over here, but like they are really going away. Like right now I don't have on any makeup. I just did my brows this morning and I put on a lash and I went to work. So I am very, very, very excited about this, but I wanted to stop by because I've done a few YouTube videos surrounding the experience that I recently had with severing the tie to a toxic friendship, right? And it has started to unveil a lot of other things with me, like some voids within myself, some things that I needed to, work on and correct and just pay attention to and be mindful when I'm going about my day-to-day life. Well, in my psychology studies, we studied about this philosopher or psychologist named Egan, and he came up with the skilled helper. And what the skilled helper basically talks about, or the premises over the skilled helper, is that you have to, as the professional, you have to understand where people are. Like everybody is not going to be in a place to move their feet for change. They are not ready for change. They are not ready to hear that they need to change or maybe change some things in their life and friends. I don't know what's going on with my voice. But the skilled helper, just talks about recognizing where your person is, like where your client is. So with that, if I understand where you are, and I know that you're resistant to change, you're resistant to new ideas and ideologies, maybe thought processes and things to do to move your feet. As a professional, I have to say whether or not this is a good dynamic, because that's frustrating to a professional to come and you have the same problem week after week after week, but you're not ready to move. So where am I going with this? I have a couple of friends, who are married in relationships, and their marriages and relationships have gotten to a place where it's kind of like plateaued, or they have hit like a dry spell, if you will. So one of my friends, her and her husband, their intimacy, is off. Another one of my friends, they have like an open marriage. And in this open marriage, like they have entertained other people. They together have entertained other people, bringing people into the marriage. And now one person wants to stop and the other person does not. So now that has created am I enough for this person? If we stop doing this, will this person still want to be married to me? And are they committed to, just the process overall? Like, are they invested in this marriage, right? The other thing is I have friends who are dating, and in dating, like they always find something wrong with the person that they are dating. Why am I bringing all these different scenarios up? We got to stop getting with people expecting for them to change. We have to understand that change is hard. Like the reason I brought up Egan and the skilled helper, as a professional, I have to understand that everybody that comes to me is not ready to move. All of my friends who come to me and they solicit my advice, they are not ready to hear nor do the things that's required for them to get from one place to the other. So I have to understand that sometimes I'm just a sounding board. Sometimes I'm just the person, to listen or to bounce things off of. But I know the friends who are ready to move their feet. And then I know the ones who just shooting the shit and talking shit and don't really want to be about shit, okay? They want to stay in that situation. So you got to know who's who in this whole talking thing. What I've also come to understanding when I say stop expecting for people to change, who you meet initially That's usually that person. Now, granted, we put our best foot forward when we first meet someone and all of this kind of stuff. But when people start to show you who they are, believe them time and time again. It's so hard for people to change. Like, it is so hard to change. I got to keep stressing that it is so hard to change. So when people are doing things repetitively, they do it, without even thinking, they do it without even considering, your feelings and things like that. Like, at this point or at some point, you have to say, well, it's not about me, but it's that person. That's just how they are. But you get to decide whether or not you stick around, or continue to, cultivate that friendship. So stop expecting for people to change. They won't change on your time. They won't change for you. They won't change on your behalf. People only change when they get ready to. But change is so hard, it's very difficult to do. The next thing, meeting people where they are. That's such a cliche statement, to meet somebody where they are, because I could be in a place where I like to do things that's not good for my health. I could be at a place, that's not, conducive to my higher being, or, my best self. If I'm in this place, meeting people where they are just simply means having an acceptance. I don't have to tolerate it. I don't have to be around it, but it goes back to this change thing. If I stop wanting people to change and having expectations, or even unrealistic expectations for people to change in certain areas, sometimes people don't even care enough about themselves to make changes. So how can you expect for them to change when it comes to you? So when you meet them where they are, you simply say, or you come to realize that, you know what? I want this person to do this for me, but I love myself more than that. So I'm not going to tolerate it, or I'm not going to accept it, or I'm going to change the rules of engagement. I change the way we interact. I change the way we behave with one another, the things that we do, how much I share with this person. Like, we have to get to a place where we understand that when you meet somebody where they are, you're just loving them right where they are. You don't have anything negative to say about it. You don't have a recommendation on change. You don't have, any advice for moving forward. You don't have any advice for, how to put one foot in front of the other to make the first step to change. You don't have any of that, because when a person is ready to change, they go find the resource that they need. Just think, anytime you've ever wanted to do something, if you did not have the resources right in front of you, what did you do? When it was something you wanted, you went out and got it. So understand that. Listen, we gotta marry what we want. When we meet people and they show us who they are, we have to understand the likelihood of them changing these things is slim to none. So understand, this entire video is primarily about change, because change is hard. Change is very hard. If you're not careful, you may keep up some good behavior or some changes for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we slip back into our old behaviors. It's not until you are very mindful and conscious of what's happening in your everyday life and routine that things start to take a different shape. What do I mean by that? Some people say that it takes 36 days to form a habit. I've heard 46 days, to form a habit. But in that, it doesn't tell you how many times throughout that day that you have to do this. So in my mind, change can happen, but we have to be cognizant of what I'm doing. I have to be very intentional not to go back to my old behaviors. Old behaviors are comfortable. Old behaviors keep us safe. Old behaviors are familiar to us. When you start to adopt new things and you implement new changes into your life, you got to work super duper hard to first program that change here, and then the body follows. When the mind and the soul aligns, the body follows. Meaning, when I make up my mind here and here, then I can do the action. But I first got to get it here. I first have to program this. Once they start to work in tandem, then my body will start to change. So marry who you want. Stop saying, I got with him thinking that we were going to be this and we were going to be that and we would have this kind of life and we would grow into all of these marvelous and magnificent things. The person who they are at their core is 9 times out of 10 who they are going to remain. If I'm a homebody, I may go some places with you sometimes, but girl, I'm a homebody. I want to stay at home. If I'm a person who like multiple women or men and I'm promiscuous and I want to have sex, it's going to take an act of Congress for me not to sleep with someone. And what I probably do is sleep with them and you not know. Or I acclimate you into a lifestyle, open relationships, poly, all of that kind of stuff. I opened the door to this so that I can stay with you. But the truth is, I opened this door because I want all of this activity over here. So do you really want me as a person? You got to marry what you want. Find somebody that have, out of 10 things, find somebody that have your 5, 6, 7 things that you can deal with. And the 2 or 3 that you can't, you can just be like, maybe turn a blind eye or take a car ride when they get on your nerves, kind of talk to them about it. And hey, can we kind of calm this down? Can we, meet in the middle here? You gotta be able to do that because change is hard. I will keep saying that because people say that they want change, but in order for people to change, it takes being uncomfortable, flirting with the unknown, trying new things, maybe, losing some people along the way because people kind of want you to stay the same. When you are in transition and you're going from point A to point B, you don't always keep those same people. So the people who were riding with you when you were maybe, in the streets and in the club or maybe, doing drugs or smoking or whatever, probably won't be your same people when you get your life together, when you get in a relationship, when you have a new job, when you start to elevate financially, when you start to elevate your mind, when you start to working out, when you start to taking better care of your health. These people, rarely do you have somebody to go through all seasons with you. Like rarely. If you have a person and you can go through all seasons and you can talk to them about every single thing, that's a rarity. When I tell you it's a rarity and it's a beautiful thing. Keep it, nourish it. If it's a day 1, day 2, whatever it is, like keep that thing, keep that person. Here's the thing. Change is hard. I can't stress it enough, but change is hard. So you got to stop expecting people to change. You need to marry what you want and stop saying that I thought this, I thought that. You knew exactly what you were getting yourself into. The same shithole that they were when on the day of the marriage is the same one that you'll get later on. It's hard for people to change, and it's hard for people to really change bad habits, and come out of that stuff. Even alcoholics and people who are addicted to drugs, they think about it all the time. They think about that feel. They think about that high. They think about the rush that they had. They think about the excitement. And oftentimes they're looking for things to replace that. You got to meet people where they are. You got to stop expecting for people to be who you want them to be and accept them for who they really are. So what am I saying? Change is hard. Yes, we need to remove our expectations from people and allow people to be who they are and accept them. We also have to stop throwing people away. I know everybody have something to say about this Will and Jada thing, right? And Jada's still my girl. Whether or not she moved, I agree with the way she moved or not. Probably not. I would never embarrass my husband like that. But I think there's more to the story. I don't know if it's a hidden agenda, if Hollywood has an agenda behind what's going on. I just wouldn't do that. But as a race, as a culture, we have to stop throwing people away because they do things that we don't do. We don't have to fool with them. But the number one commandment in every religion and spirituality group that I know of is love. We are all looking for it. We all want it. We all, compromise ourselves at some point or another to be in relationship with people because everybody is not as evolved or emotionally mature to handle things. So, what am I saying? You have to meet people who can meet you where you are and give you the things that you need, and even ask yourself, are there shortcomings worth me sustaining and maintaining this relationship? So change is hard. Egan said in our philosophy studies and psychology studies that you have to understand that everybody is not ready. Everybody cannot embrace change. Most of the time we live in fear. We are afraid to live out loud. Sometimes we need affiliations, so sororities and churches and organizations. We need these things for validation and support. I just believe that God gave me everything I need on the inside. And if I pray to God and I ask for answers and clarity and, help with the decisions and the steps and the process to do these things, I believe that it can happen. I don't believe personally that I have to surround myself in a congregation or an organization in order for that to happen. God moves and speaks to me all the time. I don't have to be amongst the people. The people, if I'm honest, are out and about. Like when I meet people on a day-to-day basis, like I'm witnessing to them. I'm telling them the goodness of God. I'm showing them mercy. I'm showing them grace. I'm giving them love. I'm doing this. But see, this is my personal belief. So try arguing with a Christian child and tell them don't go to church. I mean, you would probably argue, and I was taught you don't argue about the word of God. You don't convince people. You just say what it is, be the disseminator of information. You drop it, you let them do whatever they want to do with it. That's not my bag to carry. I'm not picking it up either. So we just have to be mindful of who we're dealing with. Ask ourselves, do I love this person enough, to accept them for where they are, who they are, and how they are. And then also put ourselves in their shoes. If I was making this mistake or doing this or involved in this, engaging in this, would I want somebody to throw me away? I may not agree with it. I may even have an opinion about it, but I don't have to throw them away. People who are, they need affiliations and stuff to be something and included and feel supported and validated and all of that. Sometimes there's some inner work that has to be done. But if you're a person that is good with being alone or understanding that this whole life is, you can be in a crowd but still be alone sometimes because your thoughts and the way you move has you isolated from most of the world, that's okay too. The purpose of this video is to understand that change is hard. Meet people where they are. Marry what you want, and don't always look for the expectations that you have on people to be what, God has ordained for that person's life. Like we all get lessons and things at the time that we're supposed to get it. So I can't want something for you more than you want for yourself. So with that, let's just employ patience with people and ourselves. Let's give some love, because God want us to love everybody, like not judge anybody, but love. Like not even, I can have an opinion about it all day long, but it's my opinion. Like who cares? It's just my opinion. So just understanding like where you are in your life, and somebody had to give you some compassion, and think of how hard it was for you to stop doing something that you did. It could have been smoking cigarettes. It could have been cheating. It could have been lying. It could have been stealing. It could have been watching porn. It could be drinking alcohol. It could be fornicating. It could be watching pornography, being lazy, procrastinating. It could be, gluttony, eating too much, just not taking care of our temple. We only get one life. We only get one temple. So when I look holistically at people and I see that people don't take care of themselves, and, we have bad health, we got bad shapes and bodies. And, to me, that's a form of not loving ourselves. When you allow yourself to just gain weight and do all of these things, like, I question how much you really love yourself, because you could croak over at any given moment. I can croak over at any given moment, but I also know that I go out there and I run 3 to 4 miles 3 or 4 days a week. I also know that I've cut back on sugar. There is no meat consumption in my diet. I'm eating so many more green vegetables and stuff. So when I talk to you guys about things, and I talk about change, or I have an opinion about something, it's because I have worked to get here. Like, I didn't just wake up and pull this out my ass to say, oh, I know not eating meat helped me to be here, and it helped me to have clarity, and to vibrate higher, and to be able to think clearly. Like, no, I know this for myself because I do it. This is a lifestyle for me. Like, it's an actual change. So change is hard. Like, me getting to this point was not overnight. It took some years for me to get here. And it'll be the same thing with you on something, that's challenging, or, that you don't even want to give up. So let's be patient. Let's show, other people compassion, and some understanding, and just love everybody. Don't be so quick to throw people away. Don't be so quick to be judgmental. But change is hard. Change is hard. So until my next video, elevators, I thank y'all for rocking with me. You guys have been on this whole regimen with my skin, and just trying to get myself together as far as my health, new business, endeavors. Be on the lookout, for different bracelet designs. Be on the lookout for promos with therapy. Be on the lookout, for my book. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So until my next video, elevators, I'm out.